love and positive vibes. And I want to start by thanking our new subscribers and our returning subscribers. We value you. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for following us, liking our videos and commenting down below, and also subscribing to this channel. We don't take it for granted. Today, I am going to share with you something that shocked me about Jamaica. There are some laws in Jamaica that are very weird, yet they are followed. Maybe in my country, those laws are not followed, but in Jamaica, they are followed. Some of them they are not being followed because they are laws that were actually formed in the 18th century. The government of Jamaica has frequently talked about updating those laws, but as long as they are not updated, they apply even up to today. So today we are going to listen to the most weird laws of Jamaica that still apply. I cannot call them weird, by the way, but they are sort of very different, or rather, the laws that are applied in Jamaica are not applied in other lands. But I found that those laws are very important because they actually protect people. They actually work for the welfare of the people of Jamaica. And therefore, without further ado, let us go through these laws of Jamaica that were actually formed in the 18th century, and some of them even apply even up to today. And some Jamaicans consider them outdated. But because the government has not taken the action to actually update them, they still apply. One of them is that it is illegal to be found drunk and lying on the streets in Jamaica. I think this is still applying in Jamaica, so the Jamaicans in the house can tell us whether it is still applying. So you are not supposed to drink and then lie on the road, on the streets of Jamaica when you are completely drunk. And in the same measure, you are not supposed to drink and drive. That law applies here in Kenya. You are not supposed to drink and drive, but it is not so much emphasized such that actually 90% of Kenyans drink and drive. But in Jamaica, you cannot drink and drive. It is prohibited, and if you are found drinking, or rather when you are drunk and you are driving, you will pay a penalty. Number 2, there are 11 laws that are applied in Jamaica that are somehow weird to some of the people. The second one is that it is illegal to empty a private between the hours of 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. I don't think this law applies today in Jamaica, but in the old days, Jamaicans, or other people, even up to here, people used, actually let me first define what is a private. So I've said the law is that it is illegal to empty a private between the hours of 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. A private is an old-fashioned term for an outdoor bathroom. Back in the days, people would use outdoor toilets or bedrooms that are located outside. And that was applying even here in Kenya. And therefore, these bathrooms were not part of the house, they were outside the house. And after using the bathroom, one was supposed to empty it in the morning so that actually you can maintain cleanliness, and also it does not disturb the peace of people when it is smelling. And therefore this privy was supposed to be emptied every day and therefore it was prohibited to be emptied between 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. But nowadays, there are sewers systems or modern toilets which do not need to be emptied, which do not need to be removed outside, and therefore that rule somehow it's not applying today. So initially, in those old days, they had to empty the contents manually early in the morning, and therefore it was prohibited to empty the content between 4 a.m. and 10 p.m. So that was the rule that was applied in the 18th century so that at least people can live in a clean atmosphere and they do not interfere with the cleanliness of other people and also cause smells all over the compound and people to feel uncomfortable. So this rule was actually protecting people and the hygiene. The other one is that it is illegal to shake or beat a mat after 8 a.m. The rule is applicable to rugs, mats, and carpets with exception to door mats. So you cannot just remove your carpets and start doing what? And start beating it or shaking it so that it can remove the dust. You don't do that in Jamaica after 8 a.m. And I tend to think the reason why you cannot do that is because you're going to disturb the peace of other people, the neighbors, and maybe the neighbors are very close to you. So when you start shaking and beating the mat at night, you will cause a breach of peace, and therefore this is illegal in Jamaica. You cannot just come out and start beating the mat and the carpet at night, and therefore it is prohibited. But here in Kenya, it's not prohibited. So you can actually shake the mat or start beating the carpets at night and no one will actually bother. Actually here in Kenya, even playing loud music, I usually hear where I stay a lot of loud music at night, which is actually a breach of peace. And I think the reason why some of these laws apply in Jamaica is to maintain peace and to make the others be comfortable in the surrounding. So the fourth law is that it is illegal to bury someone after 6 p.m. And I don't think, I remember there was a burial I attended in the rural areas and the body was arriving these hours, 6 p.m. and it had to be buried. People were leaving the burial sites at night, but in Jamaica, you cannot bury after 6 p.m. and it will be very, very inconvenient. Actually, I think this law is actually very favorable to people because if one buries after 6 p.m. and there are some guests that had come from far, when are they going to arrive in their respective homes? So some of these laws are very, very important. This law is observed even up to today. So in Jamaica, you cannot bury a person after 6 p.m. If the burial does not commence before 6 p.m., it has to be pushed to the following day because you cannot actually bury after the 6 p.m. dot. And therefore, I think this is a very great law because if you're burying at night, what about the people that came from far and also the insecurity? So it is very, very important to observe some of these rules. Number 5, it is illegal to have a pigsty at a main road. I tend to think a pigsty is the house constructed for pigs. And the reason why this is so, a pigsty usually carries, a pigsty usually carries unpleasant scents that many wishes to avoid if necessary. So you don't want to smell that scent that is so bad because most of the pigsties are very, very smelly. And therefore, no one wants to actually smell such an awful smell. And therefore, in Jamaica, you cannot actually have a pigsty at a main road. It is therefore illegal, actually, to build or construct a pigsty at a main road that is not shut off with a wall or fenced. If the pigsty is surrounded by a wall or fenced, maybe you can construct it. But if it is not, you leave it open, it is prohibited because one, the scent coming from the pigsty is a nuisance to the people that are near or that are passing through the road. At the same time, if these pigs happen to jump, they will cause a nuisance to the passerbys and to the neighbors. And therefore, I think this law is very, very important that you should not just construct a pigsty along a main or at a main road, near a main road. The next law is that it is illegal to sell rope after 6 p.m. I don't know why this is so. I don't know. But maybe if you sell rope at night, maybe somebody is buying to commit suicide, and maybe that is why it is prohibited. I'm just saying maybe. So the Jamaicans in the house can tell us the reason why you cannot buy a rope after 6 p.m. If you are to purchase a rope, you have to purchase it before 6 p.m. After 6 p.m., I tend to think the shopkeeper cannot sell to you the rope. So this is another rule that is applied in Jamaica. The next one, it is illegal to disturb someone by ringing their doorbells, unless it is of raw reasons, it is prohibited. So you cannot just come out of nowhere and go ringing people's doorbells or knocking at their doors. And this reminded me, when the Mwango was in Antigua, she talked about fans who are knocking at her door when she was asleep. So in Jamaica, you cannot do that. You cannot knock at the door when someone is sleeping. You cannot also ring the doorbell, because it is prohibited. And if you do so, and you are accused by the owner of that house, you are going to face a penalty or some days in prison. Imagine, those laws are so nice. They are amazing. They really amazed me. So the next one is, it is illegal to sell on a Sunday. This one made my day. You know, if you come to Kenya on Sundays, people are all over the streets selling. The hookers, the street vendors, food, clothing, shoes, everything. But in Jamaica, I was surprised. You cannot sell on Sunday. It is illegal to have goods exposed for sale on a Sunday or even a Good Friday or Christmas. And I think this has religious reasons, and therefore people want to maintain the Sabbath and keep it holy, and people also want to make these days that Christians commemorate. People want to make them holy, and I think that is why this law was actually made in Jamaica. So you're not allowed to sell on a Sunday, neither are you allowed to sell on a Good Friday, and I'm sure Easter Monday, and you're not also allowed to sell during the Christmas season. If one is found selling, a charge of $4 have to be paid. By the way, breaking these laws, I am actually reading, explaining them. These laws, I'm going through them. If you break one of them, you pay between $4 and $1,200, depending on the case. So when you are caught selling items on Sunday, you pay $4 fine. And therefore, you cannot dare to sell goods on a Sunday. The next one, it is illegal to get married after 6 p.m. And for the same reason as burial, I think it is very, very bad to actually conduct the wedding after 6 p.m. because the guests will be too late, and also the bride and the groom, they need their private time. So the wedding has to take place early. And I also find here in Kenya, though I have never heard of such a rule, weddings are done very early. And by 6 p.m., you are through even giving gifts and cutting the cake so that the bride and the groom can have their time. So this row is also very, very important because these are people that have been desiring to live together, and therefore when the wedding is extended after 6 p.m., it's not fair to them, and also it's not fair to the guests that have come for the wedding. But I understand that in Jamaica, the reception can take place after 6 p.m., but the couple must say I do and sign certificates before 6 p.m. So you can do the rest of the things, but the reception can take place even after 6 p.m. So that is a good one, because if it is a matter of saying I do and signing the certificates, then the people can ensure it is done before 6 p.m. so that after 6 p.m. the bride and the groom can be given presents and also cut the cake and have their, they are saying you can even have the reception after 6 p.m. But I have said here in Kenya, we usually do everything before 6 p.m., though it's not a row. And then after 6 p.m., people go. There are weddings that go up to 7 p.m., the reception, but it's not a row here in Kenya. But in Jamaica, it's a row. The other one cannot strip on the streets drunk. I think I had said this before, and I said that you cannot just go stripping or rather riding on the streets when you are drunk, or you drive while you are drunk. If you are caught driving when you are drunk, stripping on the streets when you are drunk, you are charged $4 or 10 days in prison. So these penalties are real, and therefore the Jamaicans have to keep the laws as it is. The next one and final one, it is illegal to throw stones as a child. By the way, this is very common in Kenya. You'll find that you are driving and a child throws stones, almost hitting you or breaking the screen of the vehicle. And therefore in Jamaica it is prohibited to throw stones on a moving vehicle, or that to throw stones anyhow, because you can actually hit someone as they pass by. And therefore some of these laws, actually all of them, are very, very important. It is also illegal to have stones and woods lying on the streets unless it is in a construction site. So Jamaicans don't just put stones on the road. Here in Kenya, you'll find stones on the road, like the road we pass by on our way to Kiambu town. You'll find so many stones along the road. So in Jamaica, you cannot do this. It's a law, and therefore, when you are found doing that, you'll be charged a penalty. And the people who are listening to us, can you tell us whether there are other laws that apply in Jamaica that are not applied in other countries, but in Jamaica you must follow them? So that is all I had for today. Thank you for listening to me. Bye-bye and God bless.